So we're going to start here on Singer's left arm to address the three yang meridians of the arm. The triple warmer, which originates, the large intestine, which originates on the index finger, and the triple warmer, which originates on the fourth or ring finger, and then the small intestine, which originates on the pinky. So they're all going to be on the harder surface of the arm, yang, and because of the anatomical position that the Chinese look at how the meridians course through the body, the yang meridians have a tendency to go down the body. So they're going to start in the hand and come on the arm, and they end on the face. So we're going to start with a little compression in the direction that the energy is going. So we're just going to come and also always trying to support some openness in the shoulder, position ourselves so that our work is in front of us, and just lean in and start with some nice compressions. Just nice general compression. So the meridian, as it starts on the hand and goes through the back of the forearm, they come over onto the back, so you can position the arm like this and just do a little compression using their own body to support. If it's so this is nice because the body's supporting. If it's a bigger person and this feels a little awkward, you can always come and do stuff like this. Pressure is okay? So it's nice general compression. I usually switch for this one because the points come right underneath the acromion process on two of the meridians. So just a nice general loosening. They also come up on the shoulder and on the neck. So I just do a little general loosening of the meridian pathway. And you know, this can manifest in a lot of different ways. Getting in between the radius and the ulna. Okay, Sam?
Yep.
And if you remember from your anatomical studies, the extensors of the forearm have common point of attachment here on this side of the elbow. So I always rotate in and spend a little time just compressing around on that point of attachment. Pressure's on.
Yep.
And then as it comes up onto the body, again, I just use my palm or the knee like I showed before. Also, this palm stretch down is also very good because when we did the palm up for the yin meridians, I like to do this sustained stretch for the yang meridians, just again to open up the joints and also the wrist crease. Also usually do just a little traction on the fingers because the energy has a tendency to get stuck in the joints. And if say the hands are tight or the forearms are tight, it's going to change how you utilize your arm. So that means there's going to be certain patterns that are set up, and some of them can be detrimental to the flow of the qi. So I like to just create a little openness in the joints. I usually start after loosening here with some work on the source points. So, and then I'm going to trace the meridian. The first one is for large intestine, and the large intestine source point, and again, that's the balancing point on the meridian. Starts, if you bring the index finger and the thumb together, you'll see this crease here. And I'm going to place my thumb on the top of the crease and turn it up underneath the index finger, and that's the source point for large intestine. Now, the interpretation of it is great eliminator. So it's good for physical elimination, but also mental elimination. So if you've got not very much storage left on your internal hard drive, you can empty some of this by doing this. So that's large intestine. Uh, the triple warmer, which originates on the fourth finger and comes up in getting a general appreciation of where the source point is, which is triple warmer 4. If you drew like a line in between the fourth and fifth, and you come to just above the wrist crease, it feels okay there. You feel a little dull ache there?
Yeah, a little bit.
So I can feel a slight indentation above the wrist crease, and I'm going to come into it and stimulate it like this. So that's triple warmer. The small intestine, the last of the yang meridians of the arm, hi Jack, starts on the little finger, and it comes down, it continues up, but the source point is on the side of the hand here. So an easy way of finding it is just pressing into the side of the hand, and you'll feel the bony structure underneath. And then all of a sudden you'll come to the base of the fifth metacarpal, where there's a little indentation right before you get to the wrist. So there's pressure, bone, 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 no bone right there. You can see me sink in a little bit more. So I would either just straight stimulate it or else bring the wrist back to me. A little release on the other side. Is this, you feel it in there? So that's a nice way of doing it. So those are the 3 source points for them. As far as the tracing of the meridian, so the large intestine meridian comes like this. It's the inside of the finger. Here's the source point. And if you feel now for the radius, okay, the 2 arm bones, radius on the thumb side, ulna on the little finger side, if you feel for the radius and just fall right in, you feel a little groove. And that's where the large intestine meridian is. So I use the edge of the radius, place my thumb there, and then just slip up, and you'll go right into this groove, and that's large intestine meridian. And then when you bend the arm, so the meridian is coming this here away. When you bend the arm, there's a nice acupressure point here, a large intestine 11, also called crooked pond, that is very good for all of the functions, both physically and emotionally, on the large intestine, but also because this point is located here, it helps for elbow pain. And for location, again, when you see the end of the crease, and here's the elbow tip, halfway between it, there's a little indentation, well, not so little, indentation, and you press towards the bone. Let me know if that feels like you're on it, yeah? I had to open her up a little bit. Okay, and then the meridian comes straight up from there. Straight up, and it goes in between the anterior and medial head of the deltoid. When I press, you see that indentation between the anterior and medial. So that's where it goes. So you could use this line here, and then it comes over the shoulder and up on the neck, and excuse me while I do this. It comes below the nose and above the upper lip, and then it ends actually on the other on the other side of the face, right at the widest portion of the nostril. If you press in at like a 45-degree angle, you'll feel a little indentation there, and that's large intestine 21, welcome fragrance. So that's the end of the large intestine point. Also a very good point for sinus problems. Okay, so that's the extent of large intestine. Triple warmer, like we said, originates on the inside or this side of the fourth finger, comes right down. Here is the source point where my nail gouged poor Singer Mayberry. And then the meridian goes between the radius and the ulna. Yes, goes right through there. And then it veers this way. And then it comes in between the medial and posterior deltoid, right through that groove. So there's 2 points right up underneath the acromion shelf here, large intestine 15 and triple warmer 14. So these 2 acupressure points are used a lot for frozen shoulder, which is a common term, but you know, some sort of reduction in the natural range of motion of the shoulder girdle. So coming up underneath it is a good way of helping with the shoulder. Now the triple warmer continues from here over the shoulder and right above the superior angle of the scapula. So it's the attachment of a levator. So you can see the contour of the scapula, and at its highest point, excuse me while I do that, you feel the superior angle, and right above that is the attachment of a levator. Also, it's an acupressure point, triple warmer 15. Could you turn your head this way? And then the meridian comes up on the neck, and it goes in a loop behind the ear, and it comes right in front of the ear flap, the tragus, and right in this. Would you open your mouth just a little bit? There's this little indentation. There's 3 points in here: gallbladder, triple warmer, and small intestine. So this is a triple warmer point. And then from here, the meridian comes up at a 45-degree angle and terminates right at the end of the eyebrow. And you'll feel at the outer canthus. So here's gallbladder 1, where the gallbladder starts, and just above it, there's another little indentation, and that is triple warmer endpoint. So the gallbladder beginning is right here, triple warmer is right there. And the last yang meridian is the small intestine meridian, the partner of the heart, and it starts here, comes through here. There's the source point. It comes onto the back here in the yang, and where we used the radius as a reference for finding large intestine, now we're going to use the ulna as a reference to find the small intestine. So if you take your thumb and just place it on, you'll feel the edge of the ulna and slip onto the yang portion of the forearm. You'll feel a little groove there, and that is where the small intestine is. And you can just work that groove right in there. Also, because of its fascial component, it helps with the extensors coming off of there. Now this here one goes right through the elbow. Oh, we can see it nicely this way. So it's coming this way through the elbow, follows this contour up into the crease of the armpit. So the crease of the armpit, you follow it and you press in here. This is where the small intestine is, and there's a couple of very key acupressure points. There's small intestine 9 and 10, and they're in and around the muscle teres muscle, so that really helps free up the shoulder. And when you help free up the shoulder, it helps with the flow of the meridians that pass through. So this is very beneficial. And just in general, a good way of working teres and on these acupressure points, this is a really nice way of doing it. It takes all the guesswork out. So if you come just above the crease, top of the crease, and just angle in here, you go right into the teres, right into the points. And this is a really nice way of addressing some shoulder girdle tightness. And just to reiterate, if you take the pressure off or you increase the range of motion, it heightens the probability of the chi flow. So if the chi's flowing better, like when the blood's flowing better, organs better, So, and after this, it comes back. Can you turn onto your side, please? Thank you. So from here, it comes onto the back of the scapula. So on the whole back of the scapula, from just distal to the spine of the scapula, all the way covering the surface area down to the inferior angle of the scapula, is the infraspinatus muscle. And it has connections to the humerus. So again, because it's one of the rotator cuff muscles, it affects the range of motion of the shoulder girdle. There's an acupressure point here on the small intestine meridian that helps loosen the infraspinatus, taking compression off the shoulder capsule. And that point is small intestine 11. And to feel for that, if you feel for the inferior angle or the distal tip of the scapula, and then you feel for the spine of the scapula, about 2/3 of the way up, you'll feel a little indentation. You see my thumb coming in there, and there's a acupressure point right in that little valley. and that's small intestine 11. Right. Okay, cool. So then from here it goes straight up right above the spine of the scapula into the fossa that houses the supraspinatus. And then from here it veers to just lateral of the cervical vertebra. And then it comes up like this, and it goes underneath the zygomatic arch, or the cheekbone. And it comes right, if you drew a line or just eyeballed where the eye orbit comes together, this is called the outer canthus. Right below the outer canthus, but right underneath the zygomatic arch, there's a nice little thing right there. And then it comes straight back and goes right in front of the flap of the ear, the tragus. So the 3 points that are in this little valley in front of the tragus are small intestine, triple warmer, and gallbladder. So those are the 3 yang meridians of the arm, along with their source points. So thank you, Singer. Thank you.